All right. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
And welcome to the back catalog listening party. My name is Mother Banjo, one of your hosts.
My name is Anthony Ihrig, the other host.
And today we have joining us all the way across the river in Wisconsin, Joyann Parker.
Thank Yay. Thank you for having me.
We're happy to have you. And folks
Mm-hmm.
are joining the party right on time. Connie joining us from
Connie.
Richfield, Alan.
Mojito time at the
Oh,
All Hat
all
Ranch.
right. He's
All
enjoying
right,
things
Alan.
down in Texas. Lynn drinking a red beer from Thomas Creek Brewery here in Greenville, South Carolina.
Ooh,
Sounds
Excellent.
great.
Greenville.
Welcome,
Sounds
Lynn.
lovely. If you just tuned in and stumbled into the back catalog listening party, this is the show where we invite different guest artists to revisit old records. It's our weekly happy hour. So if you've tuned in, tell us where you're tuned in from. Maybe if you're having a beverage or a snack to kick off the weekend, tell us what you're having. And I can tell you that right now, in honor of our Wisconsin guest today, I'm having uh,
Old
an old
Ooh.
style.
style.
Yes, originally brewed in La Crosse, but I think
Wow.
these days, I think might be Milwaukee because I
Yeah,
think
I went to college in
PBR
La
now.
Crosse, so there you had the old
Yeah,
style cans out there for
exactly. The world's largest six pack, I think
yeah.
is what they called it. So, and and also because it's a good summer beer, and it actually we were just talking about this before we came on that in Minnesota and Wisconsin, it feels like it goes from winter to summer and a hot second, and
Yep.
it's time for the lawnmower beer. That's pretty much what it is. So, um, uh, Joyann, are you enjoying a beverage on this
I'm
Friday?
going with the Waterloo grape
Oh,
today.
I
Very
love
good.
the Waterloo. It's always a
Nice.
solid choice. And
Nice.
Tony, what about you?
Well, I'm going with the original old style since 1634. This is
Oh,
Oh,
that's
the
old,
fun.
old.
the
Yeah.
Paulaner Hefeweizen. One of my very favorite summer beer is just light and weedy and delicious.
Nice, nice. And Joe is joining us from
Hey, Joe.
South Minneapolis. And yeah, we're happy to have you all here. We're excited about today's show for multiple reasons. But one is just, I just need a rip roaring good time with music. And I think we're going to get that with Joyann Parker. In fact, I know we are because I am excited to revisit this record from 2018. But for folks who might not be familiar with your music, Joyann, and I feel like if you live in this region, like in the upper Midwest, and I know you tour all over the country, but I feel like if you live in this part of the Midwest, I feel like you'd have to be like living under a rock not to have heard of you, because you do so much in not just in sort of the blues arena, but country, Patsy Cline tributes, all these different kinds of things. But for folks who aren't, who maybe were living under a rock, maybe you want to give a brief 2 minute bio origin story of where you grew up and how you fell into making this music.
Sure. Well, I grew up in northern Wisconsin in the middle of nowhere. I don't actually know well, I kind of know how I stumbled into this. I really did. It was about 10 years ago. I always say I had country, hard or classic rock and country where I grew up. So blues wasn't in the picture anywhere. Uh, but I had just been working doing other things. I went to college for music to be a music teacher, did that for a few years, did a bunch of other things, did some church music for a while. And then I got asked to be in a band, and it was totally random. Got in this band, started singing blues, found that, oh man, Aretha Franklin is blues and gospel and all these things I loved. And I know who she is. And wait a minute, Etta James, who's that? And then I just went down the rabbit hole. And
Nice.
that's the long and short of it. I started going to blues jams, started writing music, and realized that I could write, and realized later that I could combine all the styles that I love into making these records and doing just all the different things. And so now I kind of combine all the styles I love, all styles of American music, into the music I make. And so that's why I love all those things. That's why I love country and singing Patsy Cline, and I love old school blues, but I also love Memphis soul and all the other things that you'll hear today. You'll hear that in the music we're going to listen to today. So that's the long and short of it.
Nice.
Excellent. And a lot of folks, if they've seen you perform with the band, probably have seen you play guitar. Was that one of your first instruments, or did you grow up playing piano or something else?
Piano is my main instrument. It started when I was 4. and was classically trained, and that's what I went to college for. I went to school to be a band director, so I play trumpet as well, and I also do
Nice.
a lot of other things at a decent level. I'm a decent drummer. I can do all those things. Guitar started probably 2 or 3 years after I started with that band. So I've only been playing guitar for about 8 years. Um, so it was just another voice that I found that I wanted to learn with the blues. I felt like it would be helpful for me to be able to play rhythm and also to be able to write on it. And so I just picked it up and learned from some of the best blues guys in Minneapolis because I started going to those jams, like I said, and it just became the new love of my life, really, because now I'm just looking at all my guitars over here. My piano's
Nice.
back there too. Don't feel bad, piano. I still love you, but it's definitely a different thing to be a guitar player.
And did you go straight to electric or did you start with acoustic? Because
No,
a lot of
it's electric. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that's just interesting because so often when people start playing guitar, they start with acoustic and find their way to electric. But since you were going right into the blues, I was wondering if you
Mhm.
just went straight for the amp.
I did,
Nice.
and actually, it's kind of funny because, well, my guitar player and partner Mark, he was the one who had said, you should really learn how to play guitar, and I thought, okay, and I just knew I didn't want to be like the quote unquote chick guitarist player. Do you know what I'm saying? That whole like, oh look, isn't she cute playing guitar? Because I felt like that I didn't want to have that stereotype. So I went, well, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it. And so I just kind of threw myself into it. Once I learned a little bit, I just started bringing it on stage with me and kind of learned in front of people. It was really scary.
Oh
It
man.
was really scary, but I wanted to be authentic about it, and I thought, well, the best way for me to learn is to just do it. And so that's what I did.
Did you take any lessons from any of the blues guitarists in the Twin Cities? I know there's a lot here in Minneapolis, St.
Yeah,
Paul.
no, just the like school hard knocks. I feel like that whole
Just went and saw him play.
yes,
Yep.
yeah, because I went every Monday for a year to the jam, and sometimes
Nice.
Tuesday, because Mark was leading the jams, and so those guys, those Chicago blues guys, they just they ripped me up, but on purpose because they knew that I could do it, and
For
so
sure.
they said they pushed me.
Mm.
They said, nope, do it this way. And I mean, I'm almost crying, but you know what? I love these guys and they love me. And now I can go and say, thank you. Thank you for doing that because it really, really helped me. And it really was what I needed to do was just to go. Cause I was 35. I thought I didn't want to waste any more time. I thought I've got to do this. If I'm going to do it, I want to do it now. So that's what I did.
And that's how you do it. You just jump right in. I think that's
Yeah.
great advice for anybody who's out there wanting to learn an instrument. I mean, it's like if music is a language, you got to have conversations. You can
Yeah.
read about the grammar, you can study all you want, but until you get out there and have a laugh with someone or get in a verbal fight with somebody, you really you're not speaking it yet. So that's great advice.
Yeah, yeah. Well, speaking of jumping right in, let's jump right into the music because I am ready for some tunage to rock into my weekend. And the first song you picked to feature from this record, "Hard to Love," and the album came out in 2018, is "Memphis." Is there anything you want to say about the song before we take a listen?
So this tune is it's pretty straight up blues. I wrote this one after I went to Memphis the first time. I really got inspired because I was with that first band that I was with, and we went down to the International Blues Challenge. And of course, this is all new to me. And so Memphis was like a wonderland. I just thought, I was like, wow, this is amazing. Just the history. And I'm a super history buff. If you've seen my Patsy Cline show, you know that I love history, and I want to make sure that I knew about the music I was playing. So I dove way deep into the blues and into where it came from, of course, with our African American brothers and sisters and where it came from, and so I really wanted to kind of capture that. And then I went into a story about a bad relationship that I had been in and kind of in an abusive relationship, and wrote this song of, I'm out of here, buddy. I'm taking my car and rolling down south and leaving you here.
Nice. Well, let's give it a listen. This is Joyann Parker with Memphis here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
Rolling down that highway they call the 55. I ain't looked behind me since I pulled out of my drive. Darkness tries to swallow me as I think of what I've done. But by the time I reach that Tennessee line, you ain't on my mind. And by the time I get to Memphis, I won't need you anymore. Left your ghost and his dirty words back on my front porch. No regrets, no time to spare. Now I'm moving on. And by the time I get to Memphis, you'll be gone. Well, all my life I've worked so hard for everybody else. You seemed like a safe escape, somewhere I could be myself. But you're a whitewashed tomb, an empty shell, poison oozing out your mouth. You say you're gonna change, but I ain't staying to find out. And by the time I get to Memphis, I won't need you anymore. Left your ghost and his dirty words back on my front porch. No regrets, no time to spare. Now I'm moving on. And by the time I get to Memphis, well, you'll be gone. Yeah, where those northern nights got nothing on the ice within your veins. And as that southern wind hits my face, I know this time ain't the same. No, I won't be going back again. Of this you can be sure. And a smile creeps across my face as the paddle hits the floor. By the time I get to Memphis, I won't need you anymore. Lift your ghost and his dirty words back on my front porch. No regrets, no time to spare. Now I'm moving on. And by the time I get to Memphis, you'll be gone. Yeah, I gotta keep on rolling, keep on rolling, gotta keep on rolling on down. Gotta keep on rolling, keep on rolling, gotta keep on rolling on down. Yeah, I gotta keep on rolling, keep on rolling, gotta keep on rolling on down. Yeah, I gotta keep on rolling, gotta keep on rolling, gotta keep on rolling on down. And by the time I get to Memphis, won't need you anymore. Yeah, lift your ghost and his dirty words back on my front porch. No regrets, no time to spare. Now I'm moving on. And by the time I get to Memphis, by the time I get to Memphis, you'll be gone.
Yeah.
All right. Joyann Parker kicking things off with Memphis from her 2018 release, Hard to Love, which we are revisiting today on the Back Catalog Listening Party with Joyann Parker joining us live from St. Croix Falls in Wisconsin. And wow, so much going on in that song. And Steve says, yeah, big sound. And man, it
Very
sounds,
big sound.
and I will say, I'm sure we'll say this throughout the show today, but through the headphones, you can hear so much stuff. I mean, it's a big sound no matter how you're listening through the YouTubes on your phone, whatever. But and it's a rip roaring track. But the layers of instruments and textures that are happening, and the
And the
stereo.
panning. Yeah, I was going to say
Yes.
that the stereo field, the really interesting use of that, which just gives it this really live yet separated sound, which is so nice. It's not like a
Mhm.
wall of sound all mushed together.
Mhm.
So if you're out there and you're listening to it on your phone or some cheap speakers, go grab some headphones because,
Or earbuds or something, yeah.
yeah, you're gonna want to listen to it with both ears.
Yeah, and, speaking of that panning, one of the things I was noticing, obviously the whole band was rocking, but at the end of that, I particularly noticed that the percussion sounded like, kinda sandpapery sound on the
Mhm.
right side,
Mhm.
and, what were you using to get that sound happening?
Gosh, I don't know. Alec Tackman's on drums there, and he's amazing. And just he had a who knows? He had
He has a bag of tricks.
yeah, he had so many different things. I don't even know what all the things he used were there. Honestly, so that's why it says percussion. I don't know.
I
That's
know,
All of the
percussion's
things,
one of
yeah.
those words that can mean just about anything, yeah,
Well,
yeah, it sounded like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
before we got on live here, you mentioned that this was recorded in a basement.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about where this was recorded and the process of that happening?
A friend of my friend just kind of like making records, and he just didn't even want his name on it. He just wanted to make help us make it,
What?
and yeah.
A secret studio
Yeah,
somewhere in
yeah.
northern
He does,
Wisconsin.
well, he doesn't live here anymore. He lives in the
Okay.
cities, but he's gone. But yeah, just a friend who liked doing that and had made a few and was willing to help us make it.
Well,
Wow.
sounds fantastic. And
Mhm.
like
Sounds
Ellen
like
said,
high level studio too, I mean,
Not really.
yeah,
That's the funny thing.
yeah.
yeah, yeah, and as we've mentioned, the stereo, sound is great. So you definitely want to listen to it on some headphones. But we'll say this again throughout the show. You're going to want the high resolution files when it comes to listening back to this stuff. YouTube, compresses things a little bit, and it's just not the same on streaming platforms. So head on over to joyannparker.com. And you can pick up the high resolution version. Do you still have CD copies available, Joyann?
I do.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
look
I
at
have
that.
CDs. Yep, yep. And you can
Nice.
download it from the website too.
Excellent. Excellent.
Wonderful.
I had a quick question. You had mentioned your interest in history and going down to Memphis, as we did in the last song, but you also mentioned the kind of Chicago style blues players that you were jamming with up here. And I've always been kind of curious about the different flavors of blues. Are you someone who like dabbles in all of the different flavors and that all mixes together, or do you subscribe to one particular school? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Definitely not one or the other. If you listen to my records, you're gonna hear all the things. So like the next track we play will be Memphis Soul track. That's definitely in the soul vein. There's a track, is it on this record? Yeah. So there's a track on this record that is absolutely more deep south, straight up more Robert Johnson feeling, old school Piedmont. Um, what else I got on here? I mean, yeah, all over the place, and then mixed together. So that's kind of what I mean. I love American music, and of course, there's the saying, blues is the roots, and the rest is the fruits. So anything that came
Nice.
from that we know, rock and roll and everything came from blues. So it's all mixed up there, and I love that. And yeah, I will definitely not subscribing to one particular style.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, I appreciate hearing any history you have about that. I think that's such a, like you said, I've never heard that expression, the roots and the fruits,
Oh,
but
well,
I
there you
love
go.
it. I'm in the bluegrass world, and bluegrass was heavily influenced by the blues, and so that is
Yeah.
a very, very true statement.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And one of the things I was hearing, I don't know how many, if the people playing on this record were your regular band at the time, or whether you brought in different folks to play. But I'd love to know, yeah, did you record this? Given that it was a basement and not a professional studio, I'm guessing there wasn't much isolation happening. So how did you approach recording this?
Well, it took a really long time because it was the setup that it was. We were kind of going, "Can you come here? And can you come this time?" And it was really hard. It was really hard to put together. It was actually pretty stressful because of that. And so it really was sporadic. We tried to be there a couple times together, but mostly once we got stuff basically laid down, it kind of pieced together. It was my regular band at the time, but everybody was kind of on their own schedules, and So it was stressful. I'll say that.
Was
And
this your oh, go ahead.
oh, I was just going to ask, and was this like, so it must have taken quite a long time then to do it sequentially like that. We have
Yeah,
to bring in one person at a time.
definitely. I think it took us around 2 years to get it all finished.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, and this is kind of related to that. Was this your first time in the studio? You mentioned kind of coming to music later. I know you were doing stuff in college and things like that, but was this the first time like going into the studio? Because I know that's a whole nother set of skills that you develop. And I imagine this took there was a learning curve for you.
Definitely. Not the first time. I actually, with the very first band I was in, it was a cover band. And then I started doing some writing, like I said, and we went in and I made a very first record under that name, with that band. And so it didn't get heard very much, because we didn't make a lot of copies, and I didn't hire a great publicist or anything like that. So I've redone a lot of those songs on these records, but that was the very first time. And that was hard too, because nobody was seasoned at it by any means.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's definitely interesting now, having made this last record, going, whoa, wow. the difference is working, especially with, I worked with Kevin Bowe, not the last two times, who's a master and has done this how many times, I don't know. And just, you go in and it's just like super easy. But you don't, that's the way you learn. And that's what you learn, what you don't want to do next time, or some things you do. And, it's definitely a learning curve. You're right.
I feel like that's a theme that we might be revisiting again, where you were talking about how I learned how to play the guitar by going to these blues jams. I learned how to record by doing it in a friend's basement.
Yeah.
Which is so great. And I will say, I mean, listening to this record, and folks are going to hear this the more we dig into these tracks, there's nothing about this that feels particularly green to me. I mean, I know you're playing with a lot of pros, but it would be hard. I'd be hard pressed to think, oh, this is like an early recording.
Oh, well, great. I'm very glad about that.
And this is the first one under your name. Is that right,
Yes.
Joyann?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow. That's great. Well, I want to hear another track.
Yeah. More music. More music.
More music. The next one we have lined up here is Envy. Anything you want to say about this one?
So we're talking about style. So like I just said, this one is definitely a Stax Memphis soul type song. In fact, we played it in Memphis once. I was lucky enough to be able to be on the morning news there when I was on tour. So they had us come in and perform live. And the newscaster gave me the absolute biggest compliment when we got done singing. Said, wow, that sounds just like a Stax record. And I was like, oh, that was the biggest compliment ever, because I love Stax. I love that sound. And so that's what I was going for. And I apparently got it.
Nice. Well, let's give it a listen. This is Joyann Parker with Envy here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
Do you talk to her like you talk to me? Do you tell her that you love her? Say she's all you need. Oh, do you tell her she's the best thing you've ever done? And do you look in her eyes and tell her she's the one? Oh, and do you call her just to hear her speak? Oh, do you talk to her like you talk touch me like you touch me. Yeah, like you move me. Do her eyes light up with fire when you meet? And does her heart pound in her chest when she hears you speak? And does her soul burn when she hears you sing? To her, love her like you love me, like you love me.
Yeah.
Nice.
Joyann Parker with Envy from her 2018 release Hard to Love, which we are revisiting with her today on the back catalog listening party. And you're talking about that stack sound, that Memphis
Mm-hmm.
soul sound, and I mean everything about it, like from the rhythms of the guitars to
Mm-hmm.
the organ. Tell us who is playing on this record because there's some tasty stuff happening.
Yeah, man.
And the only thing that I would do different on that song would be add horns nowadays, but
Mm.
still got Mark Lemoyne on guitar there. He's still in the band. Been with me from the beginning. Tim Wick, still my keyboard player. So he's on piano and organ. And then we had Michael Carvalli on bass at that time, and Alec Tackman on drums, who had been in multiple things around town for a long time. And that was pretty much it. That's it. We just had a 5-piece then, and
those are the only people on the record.
that's pretty much it. We had a guest, Gunhild Carling, did some horns for us on a couple of the tunes, but or just on one of the songs. But that's it. It was kind of bare bones at that time, just because, again, newbies, we don't know what we're doing, and I can't afford to pay anybody either. So, like, oh, guest artists, I got to pay them. Let's just figure it out ourselves.
Did you jump on any instruments on this record?
Yes, on Evil Hearted, that's me playing. I'm playing rhythm guitar, but I'm playing lead on Evil Hearted, and I'm playing some rhythm guitar, and then I also play piano on a couple, and then trumpet on one or two as well. Because, like I said, I didn't want to pay anybody, so I did it myself.
Get that band directing degree.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love it. I feel like one of the things that really appeals to me to the production of this record is just how kind of clear all the instruments are. There's not a lot of effects or anything on it. It just sounds like nice and dry and like you're in the room. And I don't know if I want any more instruments, at least on these songs that I'm hearing. I mean, maybe some horns, but
Yeah.
but I really love that sound. And you mentioned the stack sound. When you're approaching the arrangements for this record, did you have that specifically in mind, or is this kind of organically happen just because this is how you play it live?
No, it definitely was in my mind. I mean, I modeled that song definitely off of a Stax rhythm that I loved, and so I just kind of took that and went off of it. So,
Nice.
yeah, it was produced in that way.
Nice.
And were most of these songs you had been playing out live for a while, so like the band was pretty well
Yeah.
seasoned on them?
I always do that. I find it that things change when you're playing them, and you find things you like better. So I have not done that yet, where I just go, here's a bunch of songs, and let's go record them. We always play them for a while, and then record them after that. And but this time we pulled them back. We played them for a while and then took them away. And now, so they're new again to to people, and but they did change. So, yeah, we had been playing these.
And you are a very busy performer. It sounds like you were kind of even from the beginning going to the blues jams, like, that really, like, is that kind of where you feel like your heart is, like, on the live stage performing?
Definitely, it's all about relationship for me. So I love recording, but I don't know. If I had to give up one, it would be recording, and I would be out live because I love being with the people and singing to them here in front of me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so this is a great opportunity to tell folks because again, you tour a lot, not just up here in the upper Midwest, but all over the place. You can check out Joyann's full tour schedule at joyannparker.com. You can also pick up this record that we are talking about today, Hard to Love. And get this, folks, this is a release day for Joyann. I know we're all about the back catalog and the old stuff,
Yeah.
but you have something new that's out today. Tell us about it.
Well, there's a single release today off the new record. The new record's called Roots, and the single release today. So that's streaming everywhere. But also, we are doing the pre order for the new record as well. So you can start pre ordering that. That helps us get on the Billboard chart when it releases in September. So if you're thinking about getting it, that's great to do. And we're going to be performing the whole record tomorrow night for the first time at Crooners at 8 p.m. So there's still a few tickets left for that, too. So
Nice.
good
So
weekend.
Twin
That's here in the Twin
Cities.
Cities.
Yeah. And you can pick up a physical copy of that album at that show at Crooners
Right.
tomorrow if you live in the Twin Cities. But all that info is at joyannparker.com. And also it's a great way to support the next record. Earlier Joyann was talking about, paying the band members, fueling up the gas tank.
Yeah.
You can definitely buying music is one of the best ways to do that, but also there's a tip jar as well.
Yeah.
And we'll make sure that Venmo link also gets in the comments as well. So you can, if you like what you hear, you can throw a little something in the tip jar.
Yeah, maybe she won't have to bring out the trumpet if she doesn't want to. She can she can get the other horn players that she wants to hire.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to play trumpet and sing at the same time.
All right. So
Yeah,
here's my
I
challenge.
haven't figured that out yet.
My challenge to you folks, why don't you head on over to Venmo, Joyann Parker. It's at Joyann Parker. And in the subject line, you can just put, horn player or whatever else you'd like to hear on her next recording.
Can you see this picture right here? This picture right here is of me with my trumpet and singing at the same time. See that?
All right.
Love
you
it.
have figured it out.
So I have it here, and then I just try. But at the,
It's
trying
hard.
to do the both at the same is difficult. But I'm trying there in that photo.
Right, but every donation that you make to Joyann's tip jar will be another show. She doesn't have to play trumpet and sing at the same time.
Yeah,
she
thank you.
deserves to sing alone and have someone else play those trumpet lines, folks.
And you can make it happen. And again, if you just tuned in and joined us for the back catalog listening party, we are chatting with Joyann Parker today, revisiting her 2018 release, Hard to Love. And if you are joining us, tell us where you're tuned in from and feel free to throw in comments or questions throughout the show. That is, Joyann was just talking about how she loves the relationship and being there with the people. And that's what we love about this show is that even though we're listening to records, we're doing it with you in real time together, which I think is really special. And so we'd love to hear what you are picking up from these wonderful tunes.
Yeah, and I just want to say one of our Patreon supporters couldn't make it, but he's a really big Joyann Parker fan. He and his wife, Mr. Chris Jetner, and his wife Tamara, and he actually texted me before the show being like, "Oh, I so wish I could be there. I'm a huge fan." So, Chris, if you're listening later, this is a little shout out to you and your support of the show. We really do appreciate hearing from you. So, like Ellen said, yeah, jump in. It's a conversation. It's a connection.
And while you're doing that, we're going to keep the music rolling for you. This next track is Home. Is there anything you want to say about this before we take a listen?
Yeah, definitely. This one is very special. I use my platform to talk a lot about mental health awareness from my own perspective because I struggled with anxiety for years. No longer, thank God. But I write a lot of songs about it because I was there. And this song I wrote after a friend of mine, her son completed suicide. And so it started out, I wanted to write a song, because I'm sitting here trying to process my grief, and I was expecting to write a sad song, and instead this song came out, which is definitely a song of hope. And so I use it when I'm performing live to reach out to people and say, you don't have to struggle alone. If you're feeling in the dark, that there's light on the end of the tunnel, and just reach out for help, right? And so it's a great way for me to speak to that and to offer help to people and let them know that I see them, and then also honor my friend's son with this tune too. So it's definitely an emotional song, and it usually gets a lot of reaction when we play it.
This is Joyann Parker with Home here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
Sometimes trouble seems to be your only friend, and the hard times feel like they'll never end, and you're so down and low, like you've nowhere to go. going strong. You've been so strong. Oh, you've held on through it all, right to the end. And all the strife and the pain that you've been experiencing, well, it's been dragging you way down. Let me tell you, there'll be no more suffering when that tribe pulls in to carry you on home. Hey, you'll be going home when your work on this earth is done. Then you'll be going home, to this world you'll never be alone. There'll be peace in your valley, rest for your weary soul, and the ache in your heart, well, it will finally be gone when you fought the good fight. Then you'll be going home. Everything's gonna be alright. Well, it might be tonight. Yeah, you'll be going home. Everything is gonna be
Oh boy. Joyann Parker with Home, and from her 2018 release Hard to Love. And yeah, elements of, a lot of gospel elements to that song, and definitely hear that Aretha kind of Franklin spirit in there. Abby says Home is my favorite song by Joyann, and Lynn
Hi,
says
Abby.
belongs in the pantheon of grief songs for sure. And yeah, so beautiful and moving. And you were saying love, you were saying that
Oh, Angie and Ted, yeah.
you were
Hi,
saying
guys.
that folks have a really strong reaction to hearing that live, and I can only imagine what it's like to hear that live with the band and to be in the room with that. But I'd love to know for for songs like that, it probably is pretty obvious. When you are singing it live and working out new songs, you're like, oh, we can't not put that on a record. But are there some songs where they're rip roaring on stage, and then you have gone into the studio and you're like, no?
Not yet, not yet.
Uh-huh.
I've done the opposite where I thought, oh gosh, I don't know if I want to include this because I just don't think it's, you know, I hadn't done it at all really on stage where to the point, I didn't know if it was going to work. So,
Mhm.
um, live, I didn't know if it was going to work live. And so I didn't know if I even wanted to put it on the record because I want to perform everything live. So, kind of the opposite thing, but no, I haven't had that happen yet.
Mhm. And I know you perform in a lot of different formats. Obviously, what we're hearing now is definitely the full band version, and you perform that way. But you also sometimes do like acoustic duo things or other formats. Is this a song that you play sometimes in a more stripped down format as well,
Yes. Yep.
just like you and the piano?
Mark and I usually with the guitar, just
Mm,
him accompanying me.
yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Well, again, if you like what you hear, and folks certainly are, then you want to pick up this record if you don't already have it, because all I can say is, yeah, the cans and the full def sound, these tracks really come alive. So if you like it through the YouTubes, you're going to love it through some stereo speakers or some good headphones. You can buy the record from Joyann directly, joyannparker.com. You can also pre-order. You can pick up the new single, pre-order the new record, which comes out this fall. But again, you can be the first to get it if you pre-order it.
Yeah,
And
and like Joyanne says, it goes a long way to help her ahead of the release.
Mhm.
It kind of gives the signal that people are into it, and people I know artists really appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of folks being supportive, we still have some more music to get to, but before we do that, I do want to take this opportunity to thank the people that keep this show going through their support, our Patreon supporters. These are the folks who, even we started this during the pandemic when we had nowhere to go and no shows to see, but we have big catalogs of music that we wanted to explore with our friends. And when music started coming back, these folks said, we still want to have back catalog. So this is happening today because of these folks: Penny, Ann, Alinda, Bevan, Connie, Vaughn, Alan, Chris, Alex, Becky, Galen, Peggy, Joe, Jim, Beverly, and John, Fred, Tim, Sarah, David, Jocelyn, Court, Matt, Steve, Mark, Homestead, Pickenborough, Severin, Lynn, Mary, Many Tracks, Nikki, Joni, David, Sarah C, CJ, and Wiley, and maybe you. If you want to join our Patreon community, you can do that. Go to patreon.com/back catalog listening party. And a bunch of our Patreon folks are tuned in today. So big shout outs to them. And
Yeah, I'll just second that.
yeah, yeah.
It for me, context is so much of what I get out of music. I guess that's the kind of history nerd here. And so when I hear the history behind songs, they mean something different to me, and that's what this show provides. It gives context and helps us understand, where the stuff is coming from, and then it takes on a new life. And we sure appreciate you being here, Joyann, to tell us those stories, because there's some interesting ones so far, and I'm looking forward to hearing a couple more here before we're done.
Well, this is
Yeah.
really fun because I haven't listened to this record for a while, and I thought, well, you're right. This sounds pretty good.
It is funny how in your mind you're like, especially if
Oh,
it's an
that
older
one.
record, you're like, oh, I don't, most of us don't listen to our old records anyway. But then also you're like, oh, I've evolved, or
Yeah.
we've worked in fancier studios or all these other things. But then you're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, it was better than I remembered. So
Yeah.
well, I think it's fantastic. And one of the things I
Agreed.
want to point out to folks who might, if people aren't familiar with the record or don't have it, is that the first three tracks we've heard today on the show are the first three tracks on the record. So I mean, that just gives you a sense of the flow and range of the songs. And do you spend a lot of time thinking about track order, or is that kind of like the least of your concerns when you're making
No, I
an album?
absolutely do. And I think like Kevin thinks I'm insane because he's like, it doesn't really matter. I said, does too matter. It does matter. And so I spent a lot of time working on the flow because I do think it's important.
Which is another reason why you want to pick up the record,
Yeah.
and definitely like listen to it as an album, because
Mhm.
although on this show we don't have time to listen to all the tracks on a record because we want to talk with the artists, um, you know, uh, Anthony and I are both album nerds. That's why we
Yeah.
started this show. We want to hear the whole
We
thing.
believe in like the time and place aspect of this
Mhm.
art, right? It means something to the artist. The collection of songs often have a thread that ties them together, and that's where the big story is to me, anyways. I love singles too, by the way.
Yeah.
And you can pick up Joyann's new single as of today. But when you get them all together, it tells just the bigger story.
Yeah.
I'm definitely an album person. I mean, I contemplated being, the newfangled thing seems to be to drop a bunch of singles, and I just didn't want to do that because it is important to me too to have a cohesive body of work, to have this cohesive thing. And so I haven't walked away from that. Yeah, there's 13 songs on my newest record, so I just keep getting that they're longer and longer.
Maybe a double album.
Well, this
in the
one was
future.
13 too. Yeah, I guess this one is 13 as well. So yeah, back to 13.
David just joined the party and said he had to step away for too long. Looks like I missed two songs. Always grateful for the archive. And I do want to point out that that if you came in late to the party, or you want to hear these stories again or share it with your friends, this will be available on YouTube to share with your friends, but also we archive all of our shows at backcatalog.listeningparty.com with the show notes, with the list of the tracks we feature, any links that you need to know to stay in touch with the artist. So that's another way you can, relive these songs and these stories by checking it out there as well. But I want to make sure we get to at least one more song here. So, Evil Hearted is the next track you picked to feature from the record, and this jumps a little further down in. So, where does this land in the track order?
Number 9. Number 9.
And is there anything you want to say about this before you take a listen?
This was a big jump for me. This is me playing all the leads, and so this was the first time I had ever. I mean, this was scary, super scary, and it's just I always joke that I write a bunch of songs about bad relationships with men, so I figured I better write a song about myself. So I say I'm the evil-hearted one I'm talking about in this song. So that it's not always the guy. Sometimes it's me. So that's it.
When you say leads, you're talking about the lead instruments?
Guitar.
Oh,
yeah,
excellent.
the guitar. Yeah,
Excellent.
that's me on the guitar leads on this one. Yeah.
All right, let's give it a listen. This is Joyann Parker, Evil Hearted, here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
Oh, babe, I know I've been bad to you. Oh, baby, I know I've been bad to you. You know I took your love and I broke your heart in two. I've never been no good, always been the trouble kind. I've never been no good, always been the trouble kind. I tried to warn you when we met, but you already made up your mind. I'm a force of nature, babe. You can't stop this train. Poison arrow to your heart and a bullet in your brain. Nothing you can do will save me. I was born to be alone. May the Lord above have some mercy on my soul. Oh, babe, I've been so bad. I'm an evil-hearted woman, and I don't deserve no good man. Oh, babe, I know I done you wrong. Oh, baby, I know I done you wrong. It tastes like sugar on your tongue, but I'm rotten to the very bone. You know I taste so sweet on your tongue, but I'm rotten to the bone. I'm an evil-hearted woman, and I don't deserve, no, I don't deserve no good man.
some sweet guitar stylings from Joyann Parker. Evil Hearted from her 2018 album Hard to Love, which we are revisiting with Joyann Parker joining us live today from her home in Wisconsin. And your guitar player, Mark, is
Yeah,
joining
I
the
didn't pay him
party.
to say that.
Well, he says, he says, can't say enough about Fearless Leader. I have the best gig ever. So, he knows of what he speaks because he is a great guitar player. So when he says she plays as beautifully as she sings, he knows what he's talking about. So,
Thanks, Mark.
yeah, some beautiful, beautiful playing, and I love the vibe. That kind of has more of like a nightclub kind of vibe. Which I really dig. And Alex says, love your sound and hope to catch a show in the Twin Cities. And maybe if you live in the Twin Cities, Alex, then maybe tomorrow night, there's still a few tickets left at Crooners. Joyann is doing a special local release party, an early release party, because the album doesn't come out till the fall, but you can get a physical copy tomorrow night at Crooners if you go to the show. And I'm assuming the whole band will be there?
Yep, and we'll have special guests too. So
Excellent.
It'll be good time.
And it's such a great venue. It will be out in the tent or inside?
Inside in the main room where it's cool.
Nice. That's good because it is a little hot right now. So,
and for folks outside of the upper Midwest, do you have any travel plans to speak of?
Well, we're going to be in the upper Midwest still. Well, I guess different Midwest. Omaha. We're going to be in Omaha this summer. We'll be in Sioux City, Iowa for a festival there. We'll be over a couple times in Eau Claire area, Durand, Eau Claire. We'll be up on the North Shore this summer doing a festival up there. Nice. They have a concert series. And I think that's kind of it for now. And then we're back in Madison in the early fall. So around.
Excellent. Well, to head on over to joyannparker.com to get those dates. I'm with you, Alex. I can't wait to see Joyann live. I mean, hearing this, how it translates to an album, it doesn't always happen. But I can almost feel what it would be like on stage. And I think you'll all want to hop on her email list or whatever social media channels that she has listed there at her website to know when she is playing near you.
Definitely. And we can squeeze in one more song here. We're going to make it happen.
Okay.
So this song is one you wanted to make sure to get to. This is called Your Mama. Is there anything you want to say quickly about it?
This is about having a bad mother-in-law. When I thought I should write a blues song, I thought the person who would have the blues would be a person with a bad mother-in-law. So this is kind of a letter to the husband from the wife who is sick of the mother-in-law's shenanigans.
All right, folks. Your Mama, Joyann Parker here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
Well, babe, it's time we had a talk. I got something on my mind. It's about that other woman that you got in your life. Well, I know that you love her, I completely understand. But after 14 years, I can't take no more. I need you to be your man and tell your mama, she's got to go. I can't take her messing with my head no more. Well, you're my baby, not hers no more. I gotta shove that woman right out my door. Tell your mama, she's got to go. Well, she held your heart in an iron hand till the day that I moved in. And she hated everything that I did, but softened up once we had kids. Well, I appreciate the money, and I'm thankful for her time. But she's already raised her child, now she's gotta let me raise mine. Now tell your mama, she's got to go. She's got to go. I can't take her telling me how to live no more. Well, you're my baby, not hers no more. Gotta shove that woman right out my door. Tell your mama, she's got to go. Well, she had you, but I got you when you took those vows. Oh, baby, don't look so surprised. Now you know what I'm talking about. Well, this kingdom only needs one queen. mean, and she's right here, baby. Well, you better take a chainsaw to those 8-drum strings. Well, she calls you up at least 5 times a day. I can't do a doggone thing without that woman in my way. Well, she calls me names behind my back. I ain't taking any more of that. If you want 3 in this marriage, take my ring and she can't wear it now. Tell your mama, she's got to go. I can't take her sleeping in my bed no more. Well, you're my baby, not hers no more. Gotta shove that woman right out my door. Tell your mama, she's got to go. Now tell your mama, baby, tell your mama, baby, come on, tell your mama. I said, tell your mama, she's got to go.
All right, Joyann Parker with Your Mama from her 2018 release, Hard to Love, which we have been revisiting today here on the Back Catalog Listening Party with Joyann Parker joining us live. And this has been such a delightful hour. Thank
What
you
fun.
so much. So great.
It's been really fun. I love that song. And I'm so glad Lynn noticed my chainsaw to the apron strings lyric. I love that.
Such a good line.
Yeah, I'm like, those apron strings are tough, baby. You need a chainsaw.
And for those just listening, Joni chimed in here. Rarely do you get to hear these mother-in-law thoughts out loud.
There's
It's
always
fun.
a couple poking. There's at least one couple where somebody's elbowing somebody in the audience. I love it. It's hilarious.
Oh yeah, it's there's good
It's real.
good music is
It's for you.
rooted in the truth.
That's right. And
That's the blues, baby.
Exactly. And Connie says, terrific show. Thanks. And
Thanks,
thank you,
Connie.
Connie, and to all of you for joining us. This show, we would have fun no matter what, listening to the music and chatting with Joyann, but you make it so much more fun in bringing your questions and comments and sharing in the music with us. That's
Mhm.
what's really special to us. So we appreciate you being here. And if you like it on YouTube, direct more bots to Joyann Parker. And you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel and be notified of what's happening next week and every week after that, because we do this every Friday at 4 p.m. Central. Not always with Joyann, sadly, but with other different artists. And I agree with Gary. Joyann is such a joyful name and person. So we're happy to have her here. And Joyann, thank you for joining
Thanks,
us.
you guys.
Thank
Definitely
you.
couldn't do it without you.
Yeah, thanks for sharing your time and your talents. We really appreciate it. And as it does every week now, I just feel like I feel much better. All the whatever I was worried about from Monday through Friday morning, it's gone. And it's
Or
thanks-
Friday through 3:59 p.m. pretty much.
But it's thanks to your art and thanks for sharing it with us today. This is wonderful.
I am so glad that I had the time to be with you guys.
And
Excellent.
also, I want to raise another glass to toast you on your single release day. Congratulations on your new single, Roots, and have a great party tomorrow at Crooners.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Thank you guys.
And cheers to everybody out there. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week here on the Back Catalog Listening
Bye,
Party.
everybody.